Cafe Mexico there on the right-hand side. I had no idea that tequila was supposed to be sipped. Apparently it is. It's a high-class liquor like scotch. We're going to drive through Chinatown here. And on the left-hand side, quickly I want to point out this bridge. That's called the Johnson Street Bridge. It's a drawbridge that goes up and down for big vessels to go underneath. It took 3 years to be built because they ordered the wrong steel from China twice. Yeah. It's supposed to cost $65 million. Ended up costing $115 million. There's an old truck here on the right. If you enjoy old trucks, that's pretty neat. And you'll see lots of restaurants in this area. We have the most restaurants per capita in Canada, and we are second in all of North America to San Francisco, just like our Chinatown. Let's take a quick drive down Chinatown. And one thing I get to show you is an alleyway. It's called Fantan Alley. And it's in the Guinness Book of World Records as being the narrowest commercial alleyway in Canada. It's 3 feet 3 inches wide. And if you've ever seen the movie Bird on a Wire with Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn, there was actually a motorcycle chase scene filmed down this alleyway. I'll drive nice and slow. It's going to be on our right-hand side. Take a look to our right now. For those of you in front of the bus, take a look to the right there. Don't blink. We'll drive slow. Those at the back, keep looking right. There it is. I've driven past here later, and they put a gate across so that you can't actually get in. And I went, well, why don't you let people in? It's because people would climb up it and go to the top. They'd do the Spider-Man thing. No wonder they'd lock it up. Now this is the front of Chinatown. On the right and left-hand side, I want to point out these statued lions. Everyone can see them on the right and left-hand side of the bus. Now there is a story that goes along with those lions. It's said that if an honest British Columbian politician walks through, those lions will actually come alive and dance. That's the story. Quickly on our left, Chinese public school. Built in the early 1900s. And that school still teaches classes, culture and language, Mandarin Chinese. And every time I drive past, I'm reminded of my amazing trip to China, and I spent a month in China. And when I was there, I learned how to put together a full sentence, and I was very proud of myself. The sentence I can say is Jisha Shema Jisha Ugwe Waini, which means, what is that? That's a turtle. I love you. Yeah. Doesn't make much sense, does it? I live here. I've been living here for 6 years. For those up top, that was a question from down below. Coming up on the right-hand side, City Hall. That is our City Hall there. There's a four-sided clock way up top. That four-sided clock is a hand-wound clock. It took 2 years getting here because it was accidentally sent to Victoria, Australia. When it arrived, they decided to make it chime every half an hour. For a little while, it chimed every half an hour, day and night. Yeah, so a few decades ago, they were doing some general maintenance on that clock. They found a bullet hole through the hour hand of the clock that faces this hotel across the street. So they lined the clock up because it shot right through the hour hand into the back, the backing there. And they found out it was shot at 5 o'clock. And my guess was 5 in the morning. Somebody was sick and tired of the clock chiming, and they, where's that? Right behind us. And the ambulance on the left just ruined my story. So, That's a little story about the clock there, guys. So yeah, the good old days, they probably grabbed their revolver off the nightstand, opened the window, and took a shot. This is a much better street, by the way, to see straight ahead of us that there's no overhead power lines or cable lines. So it looks very clean. This is our, by the way, this is the busiest street in Victoria. This is our main street, right here. This is the main street through the city, and that's what it looks like. Now, you're a little bit early by just a few days, but at the start of June, they start hanging flower baskets on these flat 5 globe light posts here on the right and left hand side of the bus. You can actually see where they hang them. They have little hooks. And throughout the city, they put 1,500 hanging flower baskets up, all throughout the city. And a water truck comes by every couple of days and waters these hanging flower baskets. So we're just a couple days short of that, and what is happening straight ahead of us? What is this? Is this a golf tournament through the city? Is that like a bachelor? No, because there's ladies there. I don't know. That looks like fun, whatever it is. And you'll see bike lanes throughout the city. Very efficient downtown. It takes about 45 minutes to bike from the east side to the west side on the southern point. And up ahead, this is the main street that leads east to west. And so take a look at the bike lane on the left-hand side. Looks like a mini road, and you'll also see the bikers have their own bike red light and green light. It's the shape of a bicycle. They're on the left. So we have very extensive bike paths through the city. Now, straight ahead of us, on our left first, Tim Hortons. What Tim Hortons is? Think Dunkin' Donuts. Canadian version of Dunkin' Donuts, so we love our Tim Hortons. Very popular here. I was in a Tim Hortons in the US, it's not as popular as it is here. But what I was saying, it was straight ahead of us, you're going to see a castle. And you probably saw on the ship that a tour called Craig Derrick Castle was offered. So straight ahead of us, at the very end of the street, if you look up on the hill, you'll start to see a castle. And that's Craig Derrick Castle, built by a man named Robert Dunsmuir in the late 1800s. He was a very wealthy man. He actually found a large sum of coal here. So he was in the coal industry, and one of the wealthiest men in Western Canada in his time, and so he decided that he was going to build himself a castle. Now the castle itself is 25,000 square feet. It has 39 rooms and 18 fireplaces. And in the late 1800s, it cost $500,000. So nowadays, you can only imagine. So what's sad about it is that Mr. Dunsmuir actually died before the castle was being finished built. You guys know what I'm saying. He died before it was built. And so his wife Joan and their children inherited it. It was passed on to them until her passing, Joan's passing in 1914. And when she passed away, none of the kids wanted the castle. There were some family troubles at that time, and so nobody wanted to buy the castle. So the castle went to the Bank of Montreal. And the Bank of Montreal was going to sell it. And so they got a savvy real estate investor to come in. Oh, poor lady. There's where that ambulance was going here on the right. Taylor, why don't you just continue telling your story? Because nobody listens to my story when there's lights flashing. Everybody wants to know what's going on. It looks like she's fine. So it was past the wife Joan and then the Bank of Montreal, and the Bank of Montreal was having a hard time selling it. So they got this savvy real estate investor to come in and figure out a way to sell it. So this real estate investor said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the Dunsmuir's 28 acres of land that they own up here, and I'm going to subdivide it. I'm going to subdivide it into 144 lots. If you buy a lot, you're entered in a draw out of the hat to win the castle. So that's exactly what happened. Somebody bought a lot, and they were drawn, and they won the castle. Now, he was a smaller businessman, and he did not have the funds to maintain the castle and to pay the monthly costs. And so it went back to the Bank of Montreal, and the Bank of Montreal decided that they were going to make it a military hospital. Well, kind of looks good on paper, but there's 75 stairs to the top. So, yeah, no, it didn't make well for a military hospital. So after that, they decided there was going to be the Victoria College, which worked for a while, for 14 years. And then there was a few other things, and they just couldn't quite get a grasp, and they said, you know what, we're just going to make it a museum. So that's what they did. It's a National Historic Site of Canada. And we're going to be passing it in just a second. Now, don't get your hopes up, because it's kind of tough to see from when we pass it, because if the leaves aren't on the trees, it's really easy to see, but the leaves are now in full. So I will point it out to you, and we can see just a little bit of it. It's going to be up on our right-hand side. Alright, so I'm going to slow down just a little bit. Like I said, don't get your hopes up that you may get a little glimpse of it. Some days are better than others. Let's take a right-hand look here. This is the front of it, the front stone here. So take a look to the right. Very back behind the trees. I can't really see it from here. Did you get any kind of view? Did you get a little glimpse of it? Yeah. From where I sit, I can't see any of it, so maybe you saw a tiny bit. So all of this here on the right-hand side, this is the Dunsmuir's land, and if you drive through this area, which we would hit every tree with this double-decker, but there are some magnificent homes through this area, so just kind of keep your eye out on the right-hand side. And their land went up all the way to the next intersection up here. There's actually a really pretty white home. I think it's here on the right, just on the corner. There it is, just through the trees there on the right-hand side. Yeah, so homes like that. Now, we're known as the City of Gardens here in Victoria, and as of October 17th last year, you're able to grow whatever you want now. If you don't know what I'm talking about marijuana. And on the right-hand side, if you've never seen a dispensary, this is what one looks like. That is a marijuana dispensary, and in Victoria, we have more medical marijuana dispensaries than Starbucks and McDonald's combined. People seem to find that interesting. So that's what one looks like, and now that it's legal here in the country of Canada, they have upped their game a little bit, and the stores, they look like you're going to go buy an Apple product. They look like you're going to go buy an iPhone. They're very professional, and in these stores, you can even get dog biscuits for your dog. So say your dog's having a tough day, right? It's a little wound up. It's a Labrador. It's back legs hurt, little arthritis, right? Hasn't slept in a few days. You can give it a little biscuit, and that dog will be asleep. So I actually know people who have done that, and apparently it's working miracles. And just on the right-hand side, if you saw our gas price, $1.59. But wait. I already hear a couple people saying it. It's a liter. 4 liters to a gallon. Well, I think it's like 3.8, but let's just say 4 liters to a gallon makes that $6.40 a gallon. $6.40 a gallon. So anybody on California, anybody on the bus from California, you cannot complain about your gas price anymore. Okay, we've outdone you. And anybody from Europe on the bus, you're gonna say that yours is even more expensive than ours. So, and now another thing that's very expensive is our housing market. An average single-family home is going for about $850,000 right now. So I'll actually get to point out, if you want to see what a single-family home looks like, I'll point out to something that's $850,000. Also, guys, there's a squirrel there on the left. See that? I love squirrels. I'm a big fan. So let's take a left-hand turn here, and we're going to drive down a very normal, very mediocre street, and I'll show you what $850,000 will buy you. Now, the reason for our expensive real estate is the land. So we live on an island, so that makes it expensive, and we live on the southern point of an island, and so all this land is taken up. There's no more room to expand. And so what you're really buying is the land. If you're looking for a condo, you're still going to pay about $450,000, $500,000. And a one-bedroom apartment to rent, $1,500 to $1,600 a month. Two-bedroom, $2,000 a month. Now, for some of you, that's not very expensive at all. For others, it is. I think that it's quite expensive from where I'm from. I'm from Alberta, which is the province to the east of us. So up here on the right-hand side, this little blue home here on the right-hand side, this house would be about $800,000. And then everything down this whole street is right around that $8 to $950 mark. So it's not, it doesn't get you much. Of course, the only way to afford a home now, if you don't make tons of money, is to move to the outskirts. So if you move an hour north of the city, hour and a half north, $1 million home soon becomes a $400,000 home. And the way people are able to afford these homes is because a lot of them bought them 30 years ago when they were $80,000. And just in the last 5 years, they've pretty much doubled in price. So it hasn't been like this forever, but we have hit a bit of a ceiling right now, and just in the last few months it started to come down. So I think that it'll even out a little bit more. I don't think that it'll rapidly decrease, but I don't think they're going to sit at $900,000 for very long. And a perfect example, I actually owned a home 2 years ago, and I bought it for $350,000, and I sold it in 1 year. So I lived in it for 1 year. In 1 year, the home increased $50,000. The next year, so I sold it. I said, I'm done with the housing market for now. And am I going to take a right? Yeah, I'm going to take a right here. Let's take a right here. The next year went up to $450,000, and the home now, 3 years later, is worth $550,000. So yeah, that's my biggest regret, and thank you guys for reminding me about it. Just to give you guys an idea, not to talk about money, but just to give you kind of an idea of what's happened over the last 3-4 years. Now we're going to go through a very high-scale neighborhood. And This is where we're going to see $5-10 million homes. So we're not even in the high-scale neighborhood yet. I get to show you what a $5 million house looks like, and I also get to show you what a $13 million house looks like. It's actually the $13 million home is not in this area. It's actually a little bit further down, but I'll point those two out to you just so you get a good idea. Now, one thing you need to keep your eye out for in this area are deer. We have an abundant amount of deer in the city, sometimes on the golf course here on the left. Oh, look at that. Thank you. Thanks, John. I'll give you $20 later. That was almost staged, wasn't it? That was almost staged. We'll probably see a few more, and I'll slow down quite a bit more if we see one. We're just on a bit of a main road here. This is the Uplands golf course. This is one of two private courses we'll see today. And when we go through this area, we're going to be now entering the Uplands. This is a high-scale neighborhood. It was designed in the early 1900s by landscape designers, developers. The Olmsted Group, or the Olmsted Brothers. They're the same people who developed Central Park in New York. So it kind of follows a similar concept. It's very open, it's very beautiful. You're not allowed to build fences around your property, so you will not see 7-8 foot high fences in this area. You will see shrubs to give you a little privacy and little stone walls, but you'll see absolutely no fences, and you'll see every yard is very manicured. That's one of our new drivers. He looks stressed out. It's nerve-wracking giving a tour in front of a bunch of people when you just start. The area is very manicured. If you decide not to take care of your property, the government will step in and do it for you, and they'll charge you your property taxes. Also, you'll see brand new homes mixed with older homes. You are allowed to come in, demolish an older home, and build brand new. So I'll just let you guys window shop here for a little bit. I like to call it window shopping. Just remember, if you're American, you get 30% off all of this. Because the dollar right now, one American dollar is $1.30 Canadian. That's $1.29. And do keep your eye out for deer. If you see one, call it out, yell it out, right, left. I'll try to keep my eye out as well. I was just at Butcher Gardens this morning, and I saw a deer with her baby. It was tiny. It was all spotted. It's just so cute. And I was about 15 feet away from them. There's some bunny rabbits there on the right. Some hares. There they are. And this is the $5 million home coming up on our left-hand side. I think it's went down a bit. I think it's actually closer to 3.54, but here it is on the left. So this is a newer home in this area, and it is still for sale. So it might be priced a little high, but here's an idea for you. And here's a great example coming up on the left of new versus old. Here's old here on the left, a beautiful colonial style home. Isn't that gorgeous? But then you've got this. Take a look to the left. Very modern. Very, very modern.